I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert.
You know, Washington is the kind of town where many people feel that they have to know everybody.
爱泼斯坦他是一个非常厉害的，可以说是人脉掮客。
令一众美国上流社会精英颜面尽失的大瓜爱泼斯坦案，早已在近几年家喻户晓，延宕到2026年，事件依然余波连连。上周五，美国司法部公布了迄今为止规模最大的爱泼斯坦相关档案，涵盖300万页文件、约2000段视频和18万张图片。档案披露了这个声名狼藉的性犯罪者与多位知名人物的往来，其中包括美国总统特朗普、前总统克林顿、微软创始人盖茨、全球首富马斯克等等。文件显示，爱泼斯坦曾在2013年写下多份涉及盖茨的便签，其中声称盖茨与俄罗斯女性发生性关系后，曾试图向妻子梅琳达隐瞒自己患上性病，甚至要求爱泼斯坦帮助获取抗生素，偷偷给梅琳达服用。盖茨方面否认全部指控，但随着相关文件曝光，梅琳达公开受访坦诚，此事使他重新想起婚姻中非常痛苦的时刻。
And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, you know, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad.
欧洲上流社会也遭到波及，除了已被剥夺王室头衔的英国王子安德鲁，其他中箭者还包括英国前驻美大使、挪威王室以及挪威前首相。丑闻曝光后，人们最大的疑问是，这些权贵名流为什么都对爱泼斯坦趋之若鹜？
从科技界到政治界，再到金融界，再到影剧界，所以它的跨度是非常广的。它虽然是臭名昭彰在外，但是在上流圈子里面提到爱泼斯坦，以目前公开的各种资料，很显然的，这些精英人士他们所思考的是，如果爱泼斯坦可以给我带来更大的利益，那么所谓的道德的瑕疵就可以放在一边。其实这就是为什么这一次的事件呢爆发出来，雪球会越滚越大。
You know, Washington is the kind of town where many people feel that they have to know everybody. Obviously, there was some group that was close to him and were involved in his parties. There were other people who thought he was just a purveyor of information and knew a lot of people, and he was very gregarious and invited them to use his plane.
早在2006年，以金融业起家的亿万富豪爱泼斯坦，就因涉嫌性侵及性贩卖未成年少女，在佛罗里达被起诉。但他在2年后选择对州级重罪认罪，控辩交易却帮他避开了联邦重刑。直至2019年，又在纽约被捕。联邦指控显示，他和女友麦克斯韦尔涉嫌招募及性贩卖未成年少女。随后，爱泼斯坦在曼哈顿监狱候审期间神秘自缢身亡，麦克斯韦尔则在2022年被判处20年徒刑。
He was somebody who was close to famous people, so could he have been murdered? You know, there's lots of reasons why, if you are the kind of person who believes in conspiracy theories, you would think there might be something here that we just don't know.
案件集巨额财富、权力庇护、性剥削、性交易及离奇死亡等元素于一体，引发跨越政治阵营的长期质疑与阴谋论发酵。加之事件与特朗普和克林顿2位总统的密切关联，使之持续成为美国民主共和两党互相攻坚的焦点。
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax.
早在竞选之初，特朗普就曾对支持者承诺将彻底公开爱泼斯坦文件。到了他2度入主白宫， 态度却180度转弯，宣布司法部将不公开相关信息，还指责公众相信民主党的阴谋论。随后，在强大民意反弹之下，特朗普再次转变态度，同意公布相关信息，但坊间对于他试图隐瞒的质疑始终没有平息。
我们现在看到公布的资料，大概某种程度也经过了筛选，所以要说对特朗普总统会造成多大的负面的冲击，其实已经在有限的范围之内，已经做好了相对的这些准备。所以对于特朗普总统要透过爱波斯坦案真的达到重创，恐怕是非常的困难。
特朗普和克林顿的名字都在爱泼斯坦文件中被多次提及，但并没有切实证据证实这2位在任和前任总统涉及违法行为。克林顿夫妇在1月拒绝了国会要求公开作证的传票，随后又在2月初改变主意，同意作证。
It wasn't the Democrats who were originally pushing the Epstein disclosures. It was the MAGA group that was doing it. And then after they took political office, then many of them were less concerned about it, but some of them weren't. And some of them were true conspiracy believers who thought there was something that needed to be come out. We're very unhappy with the administration for its failure to do that. But then, of course, once those people made it clear that they wanted the information, then the Democrats were very happy to jump on it. And so now it's probably more supportive. The need for disclosures is more supported by Democrats than it is by Republicans.
现在民主党在野阵营恐怕要比较担心的是，这些讯息都是像切香肠一样逐步的释出，这个释出的顺序掌握并不是在野阵营手上，而是在司法部手上，所以政治操作是可以有很多的空间的。